So as you can see, the lighting is a bit different because I'm recording at night. I still want to record for you because I just have a lot of message to say. And I just got back from paddle, so bear with me. I look a bit tired. So I spoke to a bunch of guys, and hundreds of them, and I found out that every single man in this world is still operating as a wounded boy. Think about that for a sec. Wounded boy? What do you mean by every man is operating as a wounded boy? What I mean by that is that every single human being that is a male on this earth, including yourself, how your life dictates you is being controlled by the inner child within you. Now you might say, like, what do you mean, right? I am who I am. I am, 20 years old, 18, 19. I'm not a boy. I'm a mature man, a mature adult, right? I'm 18, so I'm an adult now. Wrong. You're still a boy. I'm still a boy. Every single man is still a boy, and that boy is wounded. Now, if you watch my previous videos, you understand what I'm saying here. Every man carries a wound, and that wound can be formed by caregivers that inflicts pain on you during childhood. That's how the whole childhood trauma is created, from your caregivers, right? Well, there is other traumas like betrayal from a friend, or you saw one of your cousin dying, getting into a car crash, right? But what I'm saying here, that can also be a trauma, but what I'm speaking about is your parents, your caregivers, inflicting some sort of pain that they're also unconscious of on you. So whatever that pain is, it affects who you are today, and it dictates your life. And what does that look like, right? The wounded boy, again, the wounded inner boy within you is the subconscious mind that experiences some sort of trauma, and there's some sort of woundedness that is given by their caregivers, given by his caregivers, given by your caregivers, given by mine, your father, your mother, your uncle, your auntie, grandma, grandpa, whoever took care of you when you were a child. Perhaps if we think about age, we can say from you're a baby, right? From infant until, let's say, 12 years old. That's like the prime age of what we call childhood, right? And that's the prime age where we, as little boys, our identity is reflected by the feedback that we receive from our parents or from our caregivers. The wounded inner boy within you. When I spoke to a lot of men about this, especially my guy friends, I spoke to them about their own inner problem, their own inner conflict, right? And how I can conclude that a lot of these young men that are actually very ambitious, or even some of them are actually successful. One of my guy friend, he made like 5 to 10K in 1 month, and he's still the same as my age, 18, 17, right? And he felt good on the outside, externally, but on the inside, there's some sort of wound that he has to heal, some sort of inner conflict that he has to deal with, and making him not feel enough, making him chase even more, right? And drowning him in that pit hole, in that rabbit hole of chasing money all the time, chasing external validation, which we know we're not supposed to, but we just can't get the hang of it, of not chasing it. And he still feels empty inside. And from there, like, I dive into how his childhood was and what struggles is he going through in today's, like, in the present moment. And there's a lot of inner conflict that he has to rewire the brain. He has to reframe these false beliefs. And then I sort of guided him to it, and I'm still working with him right now for that. But the progress is phenomenal. There's also one friend that loves to do boxing. If you watch this video, Yordi, you know yourself, right? This guy loves boxing, but he went through some kind of childhood trauma where he felt unseen by his father before his father passed away at around age of 7 or 8. And because he felt like he was the one who's wrong, he's the one, because his father was sick, and back then he felt like he was the naughty boy, he was messing up everything. And so he thinks that his father is just blaming him. He thinks that whatever he does to his father, he's always the one who's at fault. He's always the one who needs to get blamed. So he have this like self-doubt and self-blame that he brought in adulthood today, and that affects to him being on lust. That affects to him, lust is okay. Lust is some sort of emotion. Lust is a feeling that we naturally have, but he could not control lust, and so result porn, addiction, right? Scrolling on Instagram, on TikTok, on social media, procrastination and all that, because he just can't, like, at a boxing session he just didn't do well, and so he just he has the self-doubt, and he blames himself for it all the time. And it affects to his relationship with his mother, with his partner that he's gonna get soon enough, his past relationships, right? And he felt drained from this, and so I had to help him as well. I actually did a coaching call with him a couple of weeks ago, and he's still working now pretty good actually. I haven't seen any news of him being on porn again, so if you're interested on me coaching you, link in the description down below. You can join the community, and I can give you a text, and I'll just coach you for free. No charge, no nothing. I just want to help you with whatever you're struggling, and yeah, we'll just work together until you truly feel whole. Again, you never can heal fully, right? But you can feel whole and secure and safe in your own body and unlock emotional freedom that every human is supposed to have. A lot of those guys, especially the 2 guys that I talked to, they are wounded, right? And this wound, it affects who they are today. Again and again and again, I keep on repeating this, but it's true, right? It affects their relationship. They shut down, they withdraw from conflicts. They don't have the responsibility, they don't have the capability to take responsibility of having that woman around. Or perhaps they chase external validation just to win over the girl because they want to be validated. But little do they know, deep down, they just need fatherly love. Or perhaps they just wanted that mother unconditional love because the mother was too overprotective to him since he was a child, since he was younger. A lot of those complexity can combine together, but you have to figure it out on your own. Now, if I were to sort of give this wounded inner child and this healing the inner child analogy, right? Because we don't want to walk as a man-child, because we don't want to be an adult, we don't want to be a child. We don't want to be an adult, but still operating as a child, because a child is a person, a human being that's still immature, right? Boy psychology. Whatever comes at him, he can't control, so he explodes. Right? Think of an infant. Think of a 1-year-old baby, right? We punch him, he's gonna cry. He hears some loud noise, he's gonna cry. Right? Whatever that immature reaction, we're still operating it as men today. And we really have to fix that. And just knowing this is not, just knowing what I say is not, it's not enough. You actually have to do the work, which I'm gonna mention later on. Now, the wounded inner boy, if I were to give some sort of analogy, is basically the capacity that us as men can hold emotionally, right? If you think of a picture, some kind of a bucket, right? A small bucket. Think of that. If you, this is some sort of a cross-sectional diagram. Think of a bucket, right? And there's water in it, right? Those water are responsibilities that we have to hold, right? As soon as it fills up, means that our responsibility increase, right? Let's say you have kids, if increase, you have the work to do, increase, you have relationship, and you have to treat the woman in some kind of way, and then perhaps you have your mom to deal with, right? You have to cook the food for your little sister, right? You have to do this homework, do this exam, while also focusing on your personal life. Whatever it is piling up in your life, the wounded inner boy is not going to be able to hold that. Because if we're secure and if we're safe, we're able to hold space, we're able to have such a wide emotional capacity in order for us to also focus on our purpose, on our gift as a man, and also focus at our relationships with our loved ones, right? With our partner, with our future wife, with our mom, with our dad. If they're still alive, if they're not separated, even though they're not separated, you still have to take care of them. With our siblings, little sister, older sister, or big brother, younger brother, whoever it is, right? Your loved ones, your caregivers. If your bucket is small, you're not going to be able to hold that capacity to do all that, right? Because again, as men, we want to be able to lead ourselves and lead other people, serve ourselves and serve other people. Why? Because at the end of the day, that's what that's what everyone is supposed to do. Because serving everyone else, especially as a man, is mirroring the image of God, of how He created us through strength. And so if you picture that bucket, if the water fills up, right, our emotional capacity, right, will overflow. Or perhaps you put a lid on it and the water fills up, that responsibilities keep on filling up. What will it do? There's going to be pressure, right? If you learn physics, or what is it, biology, physics? Yeah, physics. You have pressure, like, right here, pressure, just trying to push it away because the water is there, right? There is no movement. There is no more capacity in order for you to flow like water, right? I mean, that's just water, but same thing. So how do we do this, right? As soon as the water fills up, it's gonna what? It's gonna explode. And when it explodes, the water is gonna be everywhere. Now think that analogy. The same as your responsibilities. Because your responsibilities is just connected with your emotions. If you can hold your emotions, if you can hold space, if you can hold that inner boy and teach him and mature him and parent him in order for him to hold other responsibilities, he's not going to be able to blow up, because now he knows that it's fine. Now he knows that it's okay to be this way, because from there, once we have that, more responsibilities and stuff, once we actually truly heal the boy, we're able to expand, to widen that capacity. So if you think of a bucket from this, and it's not going to explode, right? Let's say it's piling up, but then you improve from that, you widen that emotional capacity. Imagine how much volume in that water when it's gonna be poured into a bucket that is way larger, like it's wider, right? It's just gonna be that, like the height is gonna be just like that. But imagine that emotional capacity in yourself. So those responsibilities are basically nothing to you if you widen and enlarge the bucket, the capacity, the size of the bucket, right? The volume of it. When you do that, you're going to be able to hold more responsibilities. And so your inner wounded child is not going to be able to explode, because now he learns. Now you taught him. Now you parent him. Now he's more mature. Now he just gets it, right? He gets what it means to respond as an adult. He gets what it means to respond and to act and to control his own behaviors and patterns as an adult, not as a child anymore. This is very important, right? If you want to, like, in order for you to completely unlock emotional freedom and become a man who can lead in relationships, you have to understand this analogy. You have to understand that you have to widen that emotional capacity, or else it will totally sabotage your life and you will hate it. You will just hate everything, and then you will not have this deep connection with everyone, right? Because you don't have this deep connection with yourself, that you connect in a divine way with God. In order for us to truly widen or enlarge the emotional capacity that we have, is to do embodiment day by day. If we challenge that inner boy within us, right? If you try to mature him and heal him and reparent him, because we didn't get that, matureness, we didn't get that lesson that the inner boy has to go through during childhood. If we can only change what we can do now, right? We can't just go back again and teleportation, go back to 8 years old boy, 8 years old me, or 8 years old you, and just fix everything, right? We can't do that. But what we can is to hold him, to really be in the grief of the wounded inner child, the wounded inner boy. When you grieve him, you're able to actually heal him. You're able to mature and reparent him, right? Because we have to think, like, okay, why are we unable to hold this wounded inner boy? Like, let's say, for example, why are we not able to just be present in conflicts whenever I am in an argument with my partner, or with my mom, or with my dad, or with my little sister, right? Why am I unable to hold myself? Why do I keep on blaming myself for little minor things? Why do I keep on overthinking? Why do I keep on having this anxiety problems, right? Why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel lonely? Which affects how I live life in a daily basis. Why do I feel lonely and overthink, and so my sleep is ruined, right? It all comes back to the struggle that we have each day, and we have to link it back to our childhood trauma on why we feel that way. One of the reasons is because of the false beliefs, but then we have to understand why we are unable to hold that capacity, to widen and enlarge that emotional capacity. Why, right? We have to trace it back to the root cause of the problem, our childhood trauma. There's a lot of ways on how you can grieve the childhood trauma again and actually repair it and mature him. If you want to really know that, I'll link in the description down below. I'm actually creating a course upcoming soon, and you can check it out for free. You have to do embodiment day by day, because if you don't challenge that wounded inner boy, that wounded inner boy is not going to grow, right? It's just like anything. If you don't go through pain, if you don't challenge yourself, you're not going to grow. So in order for you to actually grow and widen that emotional capacity, you have to challenge yourself. And how do you do this, right? One of the example is, let's say, if you're a nice guy, right? You can search it up. What is a nice guy? It's not just like, it's not nice guy and bad guy, no. But if you search it up, what's a nice guy, you'll understand. a nice guy, right? A nice guy cannot hold boundaries. One of the embodiment day by day that you can do is actually do the opposite. Have boundaries. As easy as that. As simple as it is, it's hard. So there is some sort of technique that you can use called somatic awareness. This is used for your body to be present, to be authentic day to day. And you embody that awakened man. You embody that hero. You embody that conscious and aware man that is able to hold emotional capacity in relationships, in work, and in life, day-to-day basis. Understand? But if you want to know more, again, link in the description down below. Go check it out. Sorry for I keep on saying my skill community because I'm sure that you will benefit from it, especially when you can talk to me one-on-one personally, right? That's even crazier, amazing, right? For free. And you can check out the course upcoming. I'm slowly building it, but I'm 100% sure it's going to be very beneficial for you. The course is about healing the inner child, right? But it's going to be super in-depth with guided meditation, visualization that you can check. A lot of awesome things that you would benefit from. All right? Become the hero. Keep fighting whatever it takes. Keep battling against the devil, because we're born in a spiritual warfare, in a battlefield. Keep fighting, and I'm rooting for you. So I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.